My name is Poran. I have lived a long life with several journeys of being a refugee, an immigrant, a woman with visions and with dreams. Since many years ago, I dreamed of having a community-based society gathering, a place for people could come and go. Why is that? Is because I needed that place for myself. I left my home country many years ago, 1987. I left Iran. My home country is still burning in the hands of those people who are imposing their ideology on people and forcing us to believe on something else. Iranian people, we believe in ourselves, we believe in the history and the cultural and traditional and ancestral practices we have. So basically the system of imposing ideology has failed. However, it has caused us a lot of hurt and suffering. So I left my home country because of all those imposed norms and beliefs that was against or in conflict with my way of thinking, my way of feeling, my way of seeing the world. So I left Iran. I was very young actually. I was 25. And I had already one son and I was pregnant. So I left Iran in a very traumatic situation, and because we were losing friends and people in the hands of this regime, execution, the Islamic executions and the war between Iran and Iraq and all those challenges we had. So I left with a lot of tears, weeks and months and years of tears and pain and suffering. However, the suffering made me to stand up. A couple of months after I left, I realized that I had to do something. I didn't know what. We left to Sweden. Sweden is another home country I have. I call myself transnational woman from Iran to Sweden to Canada, 3 home countries, and I love them all. In Sweden, I realized that I have to do something. I started to work hard. All those weeks and months and years of trying to learn the language. After 2 years being in the country as a refugee, I was a refugee basically. So I managed to apply to Stockholm University to study. I want to study. This was one of my biggest dreams. Even back in Iran, I was 18 when the revolution happened. I go a little bit backwards. I remember when I was a child, I was counting the years, saying that, oh, okay, by age of 18, I finished high school. By age of 22, 23, I finished the bachelor, and so on, so forth. I want to kind of get to my doctorate in age 30. I was thinking. Back then, I had no idea about social work, but this was my dream to kind of be able to go to the underserved communities across Iran and teach. I want to become a teacher, and I want to introduce kids to books, reading and understanding and critical thinking. So this didn't happen because of the unfortunate situation in 1979. Home country was occupied basically by the Islamic system that is still they are killing and executing people just because we want to live our own life. Fast forward in Sweden, when I applied to Stockholm University for the School of Social Work and I was accepted. This was one of the first steps forward, thinking, oh my God, this is me, this is my identity. I'm going to become a social worker. I'm going to learn about the social challenges that immigrant people like myself are going through and how we can build a system to understand and concept, the sociology concept and the psychological concept we were studying, and about urban living and about law and so on in school of social work. That was helping me to kind of develop my mindset, critical way of thinking, and how we as immigrant communities, we need to kind of focus on getting better, improving ourselves instead of being drowned in or suffering with the psychological pain and trauma that we had, because our home country was burning and still today is burning, unfortunately. I remember back then I encountered a couple of other fellow Iranian social workers and interested, and back then we were talking about establishing a society, an agency to provide psychological services to our community in Farsi. However, that never happened. So, and life changed and situation came. And I continued studying anthropology. I was working as a social worker, and then back in 98, for many different reasons, we left Sweden. I had to leave. I want to kind of experience different aspects of life. So we came to Canada, and here the idea back then I had came with me, and I'm like, I have to do this somehow. So here again, I was on a kind of zero-based situation. However, my experiences from a school of social work came with me, and they helped me to kind of connect with people, connect with individuals and groups of people here who also had the same vision as me. Little bit of going forward, getting in, together with different community members, establishing a kind of grassroots-based community organizations, offering educational sessions, not only educational sessions, safe forums for discussions. This was my idea. And this was our idea. I mean, those people who also shared the vision with me have a system that we can talk. We can talk about the many challenges that we have, because unfortunately, we Iranian, most of us, not all of us, we have a different way of thinking, and intersectionality is only beautiful, nothing wrong with it. However, we have to kind of find a way to be able to agree on what can be agreed and disagree on the part of it. So this was a practice. Not only worked with different community agencies. Back in 2006, enrolled myself in School of Counseling Psychology at Adler University. A lot of volunteer work for Queer Police Department, Canadian Red Cross, many other mental health agencies. So I had kind of enhanced my clinical skills and social skills in reaching out to people. And I have to mention that here I needed to speak English, so I couldn't speak Swedish anymore. So here I had to kind of again challenge myself to speak the language properly and read and write, which is something that I always, reading and writing helps my brain to be structured. So here, attending a school of counseling psychology became another step. The studies in sociology, studies in anthropology, now counseling psychology was kind of expanding my strength and my vision about the need for a culturally sensitive and culturally focused counseling and psychotherapy. And I established my private practice back in 2008. I started with my private practice. However, at the same line, simultaneous or parallel to my private practice, I encountered a group of counselors who, like myself, they also had the vision for doing something larger. And we got together, and in 2009, we registered a nonprofit agency that with the vision of offering individual and group-based counseling services to our community as a nonprofit agency. And many people kind of were questioning, how could this be possible? But in my view, it was possible because I had seen it in other organizations I had worked. It was possible. And meanwhile, I have to mention the BC Male Survivors of Sexual Abuse. That's an agency that I owe a lot of my skills on trauma-informed practice. I had worked with them, and I still work with them. So kind of learning from each agency and encountering and working with different community groups and different social services organization would help me kind of be on that road I want to be. And this was a road I'm still in. It's interesting how this road has kind of helped me. The journey that I have taken, it has been a bumpy road as well. I want to say that it has been very challenging, many sweaty nights and worries and challenges and struggles about how to run this organization, because once we started back in 2009, this NGO, little by little people were coming asking if they could volunteer for us, and if they could. We were also volunteers. We didn't have any funding, but yes, we started to kind of accept people to come in as volunteers. They want to kind of share their vision and knowledge and with others. This was mental health practitioners, this was medical people who were newcomers, nurses, doctors, and community agency services who also were training immigrants and newcomers. So kind of we expanded little by little, and between 2009 and 2017 we managed to offer, without exaggeration, I have all those documents. I'm looking forward to at some point, if I can get a group of researchers helping me, we have to kind of, there is a lot of data I have to do a research on that. So we offered in thousands of hours of educational sessions, such as parenting, couple relationships, self-esteem programs, train-the-trainer programs, and individual counseling sessions for people with the focus of trauma and kind of interpersonal challenges. So thousands of hours of both individual and group-based programs. It supports what Adler was saying. So this program we had included some culture stuff in it, especially the first program, the first session of the program, we were talking about the challenges of migration, pre and post-migration traumas that we have, and how does it affect or impact our parenting skills. And this was an aha moment. Every time we talked about this was very aha moment, because we were talking about people, how they were feeling and how they were thinking, and how they're being as a newcomer, not knowing where to go. And even back, especially back then, we didn't have the internet like today, of course. Many resources had to be talked about, and people would ask each other and so on. So these parenting programs became a stepping stone or a base for many other programs we offered, especially the couple relationship one, especially the interpersonal relationship and skill building programs, and self-esteem program, and so on, especially for women living, or also domestic violence programs. We didn't call it domestic violence, we called it women support programs. However, that was my vision. Anything that you focus only on women, I mean, we could have some backlashes from some men who are afraid of, for example, their wife learning something, and we try to include both male and female. And I didn't want to kind of working on separating people from each other. The couple, especially in couple relationship, it was about bringing people together. However, those people who were suffering and had the challenge of domestic violence, that was a different situation. We had to kind of empower individuals.
Looking back to your early days in the clinical field, what inspired you to pursue psychotherapy and who or what helped shape that path?
Yeah, that's a good question. I believe in social justice. I believe in the importance of cultural humility. I believe in the importance of understanding the socio-political, psychocultural factors involving or influencing our mental health. From early on, without having the ability to express myself this way that I do today, I knew that the socio-cultural factors are influential for our developing our mental health challenges. Anxiety and depression and all kind of struggles people are going through are related to the pre and post migration traumas. I mean, the challenges, the traumatic experiences in life, always they are influential in how we, as adults, we are managed to proper way of decision making, interacting with others, and thinking in the prefrontal cortex of our brain, acting in mindfully and being mindful about abilities and skills and decision making. It requires a lot of cognitive abilities, a lot of cognitive development that in reality how we are able to manage to live a life with choices, with freedom. However, this is not easy for everyone, right? The traumas cause a lot of disruptions, and this has been my focus, and I'm still working on that line. So I think what I suggest is for people, whatever you want to do, be able to recognize the additional factors involving or impacting people's way of managing their life is important.
You've worn many hats: clinician, executive mentor. What drove you to start your own practice, and how did you know it was time?
I have always wear many hats. I am not a person be able to do one thing only. As a clinician, as a supervisor, educator, community practitioner, etc., I have always known that I have to kind of be in one line, steady in one line. These are all the different hats I have worn and I still do, is in one line, is promoting mental health, is promoting communication skills, in promoting critical thinking.